the strike, the writer's strike and the actor's strike.
Yes.
Yeah, and you go and you say to them, okay, the studio executives and the union leaders, they have to go in a room and you lock them up.
Right, yeah.
And you can't get out before the strike is settled.
But what
before the negotiations are settled.
Yes.
You say then there will be no food.
But actors don't eat food
and no
anyway.
bathrooms. No nothings. Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
You know, imagine now the studio executives, all of a sudden they can't go to Spargo's. They can't go to the Scala. They can't go to any of their favorite restaurants.
Yes.
The union leaders, they get upset. They have to go home. They want to be with their families. So there is an urgency there.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you within a few days, the strike will be settled.
Right, right.
So that's the way you have to do
Maybe
it. Maybe
put them in a plane covered with diarrhea. Who knows?
Absolutely, that's another good idea. Yeah, exactly. That's why I say no bathrooms. Since I already talk like a machine, I might as well just say, I will be back. And he says, no, it doesn't sound as good. And I said, well, it sounds better to me. He says, let's just forget about the I'll be back. Let's just do I will be back. And he says, Arnold, are you the writer here? Or what is going on here? And then I said, no, I'm not the writer. He says, well, I'm the writer. So I decide what we're going to do, and we're going to stay with I'll be back. And then that's exactly what we did. We shot 10 different takes with I'll be back, and then one of them they used. And we did not know this is going to be such a famous line until the movie came out. And I remember I walked in Central Park, and someone came up to me and said to me, says, can you repeat this line that you said in German? I said, which line? Well, I'll be back. And I said, I'll be back. And he said, no. The way you said it in the movies. And the way you say it in the movie was just perfect. And I said to him, I'll be back. And he says, yeah, that is really great. Yeah.
You actually at one time took accent removal lessons, true?
Yeah, I should get my money back for that one. You're absolutely right. There was this guy, Robert Easton.
Okay.
And Robert Easton was like the speech doctor, and he was kind of like teaching the most famous actors in the history, how to create accents. But I don't think he ever worked on for someone to get rid of an accent. So if someone was a British guy and he wanted to have an Irish accent, he would be the specialist that would teach you how to do that. And if you're from New York and you wanted to have a Southern accent, he would teach you how to have that Southern accent. But I don't think he ever dealt with anyone that was like from Germany or from Austria and supposed to get rid of the German accent.
Could you do like a New York accent or a Southern accent or an Australian accent?
I couldn't even do an American accent. What the hell are you talking about? 3. So he had me say 3,333 and stuff like that. So it was like always repeating this kind of thing.
I think you got it down pretty good.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But look, I do as well as I can.
I want to ask you a quick question about Donald Trump because you guys both hosted The Apprentice. You don't necessarily see eye to eye on most things. He listed his weight at 215 pounds. You are one of the foremost experts on the male physique, bodybuilding, etc. When you size him up, what would you guess that man weighs?
I don't really know how much he weighs. I can tell you one thing, that if you would ask me what should you do for fitness, I would just say run around yourself 3 times. And you're going to be in great shape. Ronald Reagan created the Air Resources Board in California, most important board in order to really be able to execute all of the things, all the laws that we pass. President Nixon created the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency in Washington. President Nixon wanted to do universal health care. So these were people that were sane Republicans and that really were thinking more about what was good for the people rather than being stuck in the ideological corners. Today, a lot of Republicans and a lot of politicians get stuck in the ideological corners and they just can't get along, which is totally ridiculous because we all know, especially since I learned a lot of my lessons from sports, that you cannot win as a team if you don't work together. And Americans have to work together. Democrats and Republicans have to work together. That is the bottom line. Yeah. You got a really great break.
Yeah, well, sure, everybody's happy,
In the meantime, we made really good money, and that's what we did. And so to me, it was, and I talk about that in the book, how I used the day, the 24 hours fully. Because I slept 6 hours, we worked 5, 6 hours every day, and I went to school for 2 hours a day. I worked out 5 hours a day. I went to acting classes, and all of this kind of stuff, all packed into one day. So there's a lot of stuff that I did.
You had quite a day in April, and I don't know if you remember this happening. You probably remember it, but there was a video on the news. There was a pothole in your neighborhood, and you got sick of the pothole. And you started, well, let's show that video. You got out there to fill the pothole yourself.
You're welcome. This is crazy. For 3 weeks I've been waiting for this hole to be closed.
What? Now, so then...
Trench.
A service trench.
A service trench.
And there was a man down in there, right?
But then it was like for a month. And then nothing happened. And then the hole got bigger and bigger, and people started wiping out on their bicycles and motorcycles, and says, this is ridiculous. The city would not respond at all. And so I said, well, I'm going to get some asphalt. I know exactly how to do that. I used to do construction work.
You and Franco.
So exactly. Yeah. So we got the asphalt and we started fixing it. I did the same thing up in Sun Valley in Idaho. There was a road that was getting up to our house, and in April, the snow started going away and melting. The ice started melting, and the hole started getting bigger and bigger. And then now it was end of August, and the holes were still not fixed. So I again went out and got some asphalt and started fixing the holes there and all this stuff. And so, I mean, I just, look, it doesn't help when you sit out there and complain. The question you always have to ask yourself is, what do you do about it? Mm-hmm. You know, when people say, that education is not good in our public schools, I say, what do you do about it? Are you going to help the kids reading with the reading, help with the tutoring, going to help and do something for the community or for our education system or for the kids or something like that? What do you do? So the same is with this one. It doesn't make any sense if you start complaining the city doesn't do their job, they're lazy, they don't have the priorities right and all this stuff. I say to myself, I can go and do something. I can go and fix it. And it's done.
And it's done.
Now, I tell you, it's the best fixed hole, the pothole there is.
That's what they're saying.
Canyon. That I can guarantee you.
You had by the way, congratulations. I know you had a new grandchild. Your daughter, Catherine, had a baby since the last time I saw you. And not only do you have a new grandchild.
In the 90s, he had a little pig with him, and it ran around with him all over the place, on a set and everywhere, and in his motorhome. And so that inspired me kind of, I think that's just really cute to have a little pig. And so I got a little pig. The only thing they said, it was like 20-some years ago. But my kids started going on this competition, like who feeds this animal more food? And it's like, they thought this was really great. The one was giving him 1 apple, then the other one was coming with 2 apples instead of the pig. Then the third kid came home and he started giving bananas and apples and pears. And all of a sudden, this pig ended up being 300 pounds. It's supposed to be a miniature pig. So I had to send it to a fat farm. I mean, imagine how crazy that is. If I sent it to a fat farm, it was 300 pounds.
I heard it was 215. Is that
right? Did you do that? And he said, no, I didn't. So he grabbed the mattress, I opened up the doors, grabbed the mattress and threw it out the balcony down into the swimming pool. So that gives you an example, just the kind of, so he had to kind of drag it up the mattress and the pillows. I threw everything out there.
You really went to bed, everything, is what happened,
exactly. And like when my daughter would have this habit of, just taking her tennis shoes off and putting them right there by the fireplace. And I said, I'm not going to go and be a servant here. I said, so you know where the shoes go. They go into the mud room. I said, don't put them here. I said, because I do it one time, but I don't do it a second. So anyway, I took it a second time away. And then the third time I said, okay, look, I've told you now for 3 times. I told you I'm going to burn the shoes. So I took the shoes and I put them in the fireplace. And I burned the shoes, And so things like that I would do, or unscrewing the light bulbs.